Lily sat in the corner of her mother's office, running her fingers over the bumpy dots of her Braille book. She'd done this 1,000 times before. Sit quietly. Don't disturb anyone. Wait until Mom finishes work. At 12 years old, this had become her entire routine. The office smelled like expensive perfume and fresh paper. Lily could hear keyboards clicking, phones ringing, and her mother's voice cutting through it all like a knife. Catherine Brooks was the CEO of Brooks Tech Industries, and everyone knew it. Employees walked faster when she passed by. They spoke in hushed whispers. Some called her brilliant, others called her cold. Lily had been blind since birth. She'd never seen her mother's face, never seen the tall glass building where they spent most of their time, never seen the city lights everyone talked about, but she'd learned to see in other ways. She could tell when someone was nervous by how they breathed. She knew when her mother was angry by the sharp click of her heels on the marble floor. Right now, those heels were clicking toward her. "Lily, I have another meeting. Mrs. Peterson will be here in 10 minutes to take you to your tutoring session." Her mother's voice was professional, distant, the same tone she used with employees. "Okay, Mom," Lily whispered. She heard her mother pause. For a moment, Lily thought she might say something else, something warm, something that felt like other mothers talked to their daughters. But the moment passed. The heels clicked away. Mrs. Peterson arrived exactly on time. She always did. The tutor was nice enough, but their sessions felt mechanical. Math problems, reading comprehension, science facts, everything designed to make Lily normal, to help her keep up, to fix what was broken. But Lily didn't feel broken. She just felt alone. After tutoring, Mrs. Peterson brought her back to the office. "Your mother will be done in about 2 hours, dear. Just wait here." The door closed with a soft click and Lily was alone again. 2 hours. She'd already finished her book. Her tablet was dead. She couldn't exactly scroll through her phone like other kids. The office felt like a prison made of expensive furniture and uncomfortable silence. Lily stood up, grabbing her white cane. Maybe she could walk around a little. The building was mostly empty now. Evening shift was just starting. Nobody would mind if she explored. She made her way down the hallway, her cane tapping against the smooth floor. Left turn, 30 steps. Right turn. Elevator. She'd memorized these paths months ago. But tonight, she decided to go somewhere different. The elevator doors opened with a ding. Lily hesitated, then pressed the button for the basement. She'd never been down there before. Her mother always said it was just storage and maintenance. Nothing interesting. But as the elevator descended, Lily heard something that made her heart skip. Music. Piano music. Faint, but beautiful. Each note seemed to float through the air like a tiny bird. The elevator doors opened, and the music got louder. Lily followed it, her cane sweeping left and right. The basement smelled different from upstairs. Less perfume, more cleaning supplies and old paper. The fluorescent lights hummed above her head. The music led her to a room at the end of the hall. The door was half open. Lily stopped at the entrance, listening. The melody was simple, but filled with so much feeling. Happy and sad at the same time, like remembering something wonderful that was far away. "Hello?" she said softly. The music stopped immediately. She heard someone stand up quickly, a chair scraping against the floor. "Oh, I'm sorry, miss. I didn't think anyone was down here." The voice was kind, gentle. It had an accent Lily couldn't quite place. "I heard you playing," Lily said. "It was beautiful." "Thank you. I'm Carlos. I work here. I'm the night janitor." There was a pause. Are you lost? Should I call someone?" "No, I'm not lost. I'm Catherine Brooks's daughter. I just wanted to know who was playing." She heard Carlos take a sharp breath. "Mrs. Brooks's daughter? I should probably get you back upstairs. She wouldn't want you down here with—" "Please," Lily interrupted. "Can you play a little more, just for a minute?" Carlos was quiet for a moment. Then she heard him sit back down. "Okay, just for a minute." The music started again. This time Lily stepped into the room. feeling her way to a chair against the wall. She sat down and closed her eyes even though it didn't make a difference. She let the music wash over her. When Carlos finished, Lily was smiling, really smiling. Not the polite smile she gave tutors and doctors, a real one. "Where did you learn to play like that?" she asked. "Back home in the Philippines. I was a music teacher there a long time ago, before I came here." "Why did you stop?" Carlos sighed. "Life. Money. My family needed help. Being a janitor here pays more than teaching there. But I miss it. This old piano, nobody uses it. So sometimes during my break I come down and remember." Lily stood up and walked toward the sound of his voice. Her cane found the piano bench. "Could you teach me?" "Teach you?" "I don't know. Your mother, she probably wouldn't." "My mother doesn't need to know," Lily said quickly. "Please. I've never asked for anything like this before. Everyone always wants to fix me or teach me things to help me keep up. But this is different. This is something I want to learn. Something that sounds beautiful." Carlos was quiet. Lily could almost feel him thinking, weighing the risk. Finally he spoke. "Your mother is a very powerful woman. If she found out and didn't like it, I could lose my job. I send money home to my family." "I won't tell anyone," Lily promised. "Please." Another long pause. Then Carlos moved over on the bench. "Sit here. Let me show you middle C." Lily's fingers touched the keys for the first time and something inside her lit up. This was it. This was what had been missing. Carlos placed Lily's small hands on the piano keys. "This one right here, this is middle C. Feel the position? It's right in front of you in the center of the piano." Lily pressed the key. A single clear note rang out. Something about it felt like possibility. "Good," Carlos said warmly. "Now, I'm going to teach you something simple. Just 5 notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. You know this song?" He played a simple tune. Lily recognized it immediately. "That's the song from that old movie, the one about the singing family." Carlos laughed. It was a real laugh, not the polite chuckles adults usually gave her. "Yes, exactly. Now let's try together. I'll guide your fingers." His hands were rough, calloused from years of work, but they were gentle as they showed her which keys to press. 1 note at a time. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. "Now you try alone," Carlos said, pulling his hands away. Lily took a breath and tried. Her fingers fumbled. She hit the wrong key twice. But Carlos didn't sigh with impatience like her tutors did. He didn't rush to correct her like her mother's assistants always did. "That's okay. Music isn't about being perfect the first time. Try again. Feel where the keys are. Listen to the sound. Your fingers will learn." She tried again. This time better. By the 5th try, she played all 5 notes correctly. "Beautiful," Carlos said. "You're a natural." Lily felt something warm spread through her chest. Pride. When was the last time someone had been proud of her? "What time does your mother usually come get you?" Carlos asked, glancing at his watch. "She works until 8 or 9 usually. Sometimes later." Carlos nodded slowly. "Okay. I take my break at 6:30 every evening. If you want, you can come down then. 20 minutes, that's all I can spare, but I can teach you during that time." "Really?" Lily's voice cracked with excitement. "Really? But you have to promise me something. You cannot tell anyone. Not your mother. Not your tutors. Not your friends at school. If your mother finds out and doesn't approve, I'll lose this job. My family back home depends on the money I send. Do you understand?" Lily nodded seriously. "I promise. I won't tell anyone." "Good. Now I need to get back to work. There are 12 floors of offices to clean before morning." Lily stood up from the piano bench reluctantly. She didn't want to leave, but she understood. "Thank you, Carlos, really. Thank you." "You're welcome, little one. Now let me walk you back to the elevator." The next evening, Lily could barely sit still through her tutoring session. Mrs. Peterson kept asking if she felt all right. Finally, 6:20 arrived. Lily made an excuse about needing the bathroom and slipped away to the basement instead. Carlos was already there, sitting at the piano. He smiled when he heard her cane tapping at the door. Right on time. Come, sit. Today I teach you a real song. Week after week, Lily came down to the basement. 20 minutes every evening became the best part of her day. Carlos taught her simple melodies at first. Children's songs, basic scales. But Lily learned fast. Her fingers began to remember where to go. Her ears learned to hear when something was wrong. You have a gift, Carlos told her one evening. Music doesn't need eyes, it needs heart. And you have that. Really? Lily asked. Nobody had ever said she had a gift before. Usually people talked about her limitations, what she couldn't do, what she'd never be able to do. Really, Carlos said firmly. Some of the greatest musicians in history were blind. They heard things other people couldn't hear. They felt things other people couldn't feel. Being blind isn't your weakness in music. It might be your strength. Lily had never thought about it that way. Her whole life, blindness had been treated like a problem to solve. Doctors, therapies, special schools, everyone working so hard to help her overcome her disability. But Carlos didn't see it that way. He just saw her. As the weeks turned into months, Carlos started bringing sheet music from home. He'd spent his lunch breaks carefully transcribing pieces into Braille notation. Simple pieces at first, then harder ones. This is from my country, he'd say, teaching her a Filipino folk song. My daughters loved this when they were your age. You have daughters? Lily asked. 2. They're 13 and 10 now. Back in the Philippines with their mother. I haven't seen them in 3 years. His voice got quiet, sad. That must be really hard, Lily said softly. It is, but I video call them every week. And everything I do here, every floor I mop, every toilet I clean, it's for them, so they can go to good schools, so they can have opportunities. Maybe one day they can come here. Lily thought about her own mother. Catherine was in the same building, sometimes just floors above. But she felt further away than Carlos's daughters across the ocean. Do they play piano too? Lily asked, a little. Not like you, though. You practice every day. Even when I'm not here, I can tell you're practicing in your mind. That's dedication. It was true. Lily thought about piano all the time now. During boring meetings waiting for her mother. During tutoring sessions. In bed at night. She'd replay songs in her head, her fingers moving against her blanket as if pressing invisible keys. One evening, Carlos taught her a piece by Chopin. A simple waltz but beautiful. Lily struggled with it at first. The rhythm was tricky. Her left hand couldn't keep up with her right. Don't give up, Carlos encouraged. This piece it took me months to learn when I was young. You'll get it. How do you know? Lily asked, frustrated. Because I see how much you want it. And wanting something, really wanting it, that's half the battle. By the end of the month, Lily could play the waltz. Not perfectly, but well enough that when she finished, Carlos clapped. Your mother should hear this, he said without thinking. The room went quiet. They both realized what he'd said. She won't, Lily said quietly. She barely talks to me. She's always busy. Carlos put a gentle hand on her shoulder. Then she's missing something wonderful. But that's her loss, little one. Not yours. Lily smiled, but it was a sad smile, because deep down it still felt like her loss too. 6 months had passed since that first evening in the basement. Lily could now play pieces that took Carlos years to learn. Her fingers flew across the keys with confidence she'd never felt before. Music had become her language, her escape, her joy. Tonight, Carlos brought something special. She heard the rustle of papers as he sat down beside her on the bench. I brought you something, he said. It's a piece I wrote myself. Long time ago when I was still teaching back home. I called it Distant Stars. I want you to learn it. You write music? Lily asked, amazed. Used to. Before life got busy. Before bills and responsibilities. But I found the old notebook last week. I think you're ready for this. He played it first. The melody was unlike anything Lily had heard before. It started soft and lonely, like someone looking up at the night sky. Then it grew, became hopeful, like finding something you'd been searching for. It made Lily's chest feel tight. It's beautiful, she whispered when he finished. It's yours now. I'll teach it to you piece by piece. Learning that song became Lily's mission. Every evening, 20 minutes. Sometimes Carlos stayed an extra 5 minutes, risking his cleaning schedule. He'd transcribed the entire piece into Braille, spending his lunch breaks getting every note perfect. But something else was changing too. Lily was changing. Her posture was different. Her voice was stronger. Even Mrs. Peterson, the tutor, noticed. "You seem happier lately," Mrs. Peterson said one afternoon. "Did something good happen?" Lily shrugged, keeping her secret. "Just feeling good, I guess." At school, Lily started raising her hand more in class. She joined conversations at lunch. She even laughed at jokes, real laughs that came from somewhere deep inside. Her teachers called her mother to share the good news about her improvement. Catherine listened to these reports with her usual professional detachment. But something nagged at her. What had changed? She hadn't changed anything. Same tutors, same schedule, same everything. One evening, Catherine finished a meeting early. She went to her office to collect Lily, but her daughter wasn't there. Catherine frowned. Lily was always exactly where she was supposed to be. She called Mrs. Peterson. "Lily said she needed to use the restroom," the tutor explained. "That was about 15 minutes ago. I assumed she went back to your office." Catherine felt a flutter of concern. She checked the executive bathrooms. Empty. She asked her assistant to check the break room. Not there either. Then she remembered the security system. Every floor had cameras. Catherine pulled up the footage on her computer. She scrolled back 15 minutes and found Lily on the hallway camera. Watched her daughter navigate confidently to the elevator. Saw her press the basement button. The basement? What was in the basement? Catherine stood up, her heels clicking sharply against the floor. She took the elevator down, her mind racing through possibilities. Was Lily meeting someone? Was she in danger? Why would she lie about the bathroom? As the elevator descended, Catherine heard it. Faint music, piano music. Her building had a piano. She followed the sound down the corridor. Through a half-open door, she could see inside the storage room. And what she saw made her freeze. Lily sat at an old upright piano playing. Actually playing. Not simple notes, but a complex, beautiful piece. Her face was lit up with concentration and pure joy. Her fingers moved across the keys like they'd been doing it for years, standing. Beside her was a man in a janitor's uniform. Carlos. Catherine recognized him vaguely from seeing him empty trash bins late at night. He was watching Lily play with such pride, such warmth in his expression. "That's it, little one," Carlos said softly. "Feel the emotion in this part. This is where the song remembers home." Lily adjusted her playing. The melody shifted, became more tender. "Perfect," Carlos said. "You know, my daughters would love to hear you play. Maybe someday you can play for them on video call." "I'd like that," Lily said, smiling. "Do you think I'm good enough?" "Good enough? Lily, you're more than good enough. You're gifted. I mean that." Catherine watched from the doorway, hidden in the shadows. She watched her daughter laugh at something Carlos said. Watched them talk like old friends. Watched Lily call him Tito Carlos, an affectionate term Catherine had heard Filipino employees use. Something twisted in Catherine's chest. When was the last time Lily had smiled at her like that? When was the last time they'd talked about anything real? When was the last time she'd made her daughter laugh? The truth hit Catherine like cold water. This janitor, this man who mopped floors and emptied trash, had done something she couldn't do with all her money and power. He'd connected with her daughter. He'd made Lily happy. Catherine thought about her life. The meetings. The deals. The constant push to be better, stronger, more successful. She'd built an empire. But somewhere along the way, she'd forgotten to build a relationship with her own child. She thought about when Lily was born. The doctors explaining that she was blind. Catherine remembered the fear. The overwhelming feeling that she didn't know how to handle this. So she'd done what she knew how to do. She threw money at the problem. Hired the best specialists. Found the best schools. Filled Lily's life with experts. But she'd never just sat with her daughter. Never asked what Lily wanted. Never tried to understand her world instead of trying to fix it. Now, watching through that doorway, Catherine saw what she'd been missing. Lily didn't need another doctor or tutor. She needed someone who saw her as complete, not broken. Someone who believed in her, not in fixing her. Carlos glanced at his watch. "Okay, time for me to get back to work. 5th floor doesn't clean itself. Same time tomorrow?" Lily asked hopefully. "Always," Carlos promised. That's when he looked up and saw Catherine standing in the doorway. His face went completely white. He stood up quickly, nearly knocking over the piano bench. Mrs. Brooks, he stammered. I can explain. I was just... Lily sensed the change in his voice. What's wrong? Catherine stepped into the light. Her face was its usual mask of control, professional, unreadable. Inside, her emotions were a storm, but outside she looked calm. Lily, Catherine said quietly, it's time to go home. The warmth drained from the room instantly. Lily stood up, reaching for her cane. Her hands were shaking. Mrs. Brooks, please, Carlos said. Don't blame Lily, this was my idea. I should have asked permission. Don't punish her for... We'll discuss this later. Catherine cut him off. Her voice was ice. She took Lily's arm and guided her to the elevator. Neither of them spoke. The silence was crushing. Lily felt tears building behind her eyes. Her one happy thing, her one escape. And now it was over. In the basement, Carlos sat back down at the piano. His hands were shaking. He'd probably lost his job. How would he tell his family? But what hurt more was imagining Lily's face. That light gone, that joy extinguished, all because he'd been selfish enough to teach her. He put his head in his hands and wondered what would happen next. The car ride home was the longest 15 minutes of Lily's life. She sat in the back seat, her mother beside her in rigid silence. Lily could hear Catherine's breathing, controlled and steady. She couldn't tell if her mother was angry, disappointed, or something else entirely. When they got home, Catherine spoke for the first time. Go to your room, Lily, we'll talk in the morning. Lily didn't argue. She made her way upstairs, her cane tapping against each step. Inside her room, she closed the door and sat on her bed. Then the tears came, silent at first, then harder. Everything good in her life had just been ripped away. She thought about Carlos. Would he lose his job because of her? Would he have to go back home without enough money for his daughters? This was all her fault. She should have been more careful. Should have told her mother from the beginning. But deep down, Lily knew why she hadn't, because her mother would have said no. Or worse, she would have hired some expensive piano teacher who treated Lily like a project instead of a person. Carlos was different, he cared. And now he'd pay the price for that. Downstairs, Catherine sat in her home office, staring at her computer screen without really seeing it. She'd pulled up Carlos's employee file. Carlos Reyes, age 41, been with the company for 5 years. Perfect attendance. No complaints. Sent most of his paycheck back to the Philippines to support his wife and 2 daughters. Catherine closed the file and leaned back in her chair. She thought about what she'd witnessed. The way Carlos looked at Lily, the gentle patience in his voice, the pride when Lily played well. It reminded Catherine of something. Her own father before he died. The way he used to look at her when she was young. When had she stopped being that person? When had she become so cold? Catherine didn't sleep that night. She kept replaying the scene in her head. Lily's face so alive with joy. So different from the quiet, obedient girl who sat in her office every evening, waiting to be noticed. The next morning, Catherine was already up and dressed when Lily came down for breakfast. Lily moved carefully, expecting anger, expecting punishment. Sit down, Catherine said. Her voice was calm, but Lily couldn't read what was behind it. Lily sat at the kitchen table. Her hands were clasped tightly in her lap. Catherine poured coffee for herself. Tea for Lily. Then she sat down across from her daughter. The silence stretched out. How long? Catherine finally asked. 6 months, Lily whispered. 6 months. And you didn't think to tell me? I didn't think you'd care. The words came out before Lily could stop them. She immediately regretted it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean... No. Catherine's voice was quiet. You did mean it. And you're right. Lily's head jerked up in surprise. Catherine took a sip of coffee. Her hands were shaking slightly. I watched you last night. For 20 minutes I stood in that doorway and watched you play. Do you know what I saw? Lily shook her head. I saw my daughter happy. Really, truly happy. And I realized I couldn't remember the last time I'd seen you smile like that. Catherine's voice cracked just slightly. I couldn't remember because I haven't been paying attention. Lily didn't know what to say. Her mother never talked like this. Never showed vulnerability. When you were born blind, Catherine continued, I was terrified. I didn't know how to be a mother to a child with special needs. So I did what I knew how to do. I threw money at the problem. Hired experts. Found solutions. But I never just asked you what you needed. What you wanted. Mom, let me finish. Catherine took a breath. That janitor, Carlos. He gave you something I never did. He saw you as complete, not broken. He believed in you, not in fixing you. And watching you with him, I realized what a terrible mother I've been. Tears were streaming down Lily's face now. You're not terrible. I am, Catherine said firmly. But I want to change that. If you'll let me. Lily wiped her eyes. What about Carlos? Are you going to fire him? Catherine was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that shocked Lily. No, I'm going to offer him a job. What? A real job? Not cleaning. Teaching. I'm going to create a music education program at the company for employees' children, and I want Carlos to run it. With a proper salary, benefits, visa sponsorship so his family can come here. Lily's mouth dropped open. Really? Really? But there's a condition. Lily's hope dimmed. Here it comes. The catch. I want him to keep teaching you. Officially. And I want to be there. Not to interfere. Just to watch. To learn. Catherine's voice softened. I want to understand what makes you light up like that. I want to know my daughter. Really know her. Lily couldn't speak. She just nodded, tears flowing freely now. Catherine reached across the table and took Lily's hand. It was awkward. She couldn't remember the last time she'd held her daughter's hand. But she held it anyway. I can't promise I'll be good at this, Catherine said. I've spent so long being CEO, being in control, being strong. I don't know how to be soft, but I want to try. Okay, Lily whispered. We can try together. That morning, Catherine didn't go to work at her usual time. Instead, she called her assistant and cleared her morning schedule. Then she sat with Lily at the kitchen table and they talked. Really talked. About music. About school. About how Lily felt. About things they'd never discussed before. It was uncomfortable at first. Catherine kept falling back into CEO mode, asking questions like she was conducting an interview. But slowly she relaxed. And Lily opened up. Later that afternoon, Catherine went to the office. She found Carlos in the basement cleaning the storage room. He looked up when he heard her heels clicking on the concrete floor. His face was pale. Mrs. Brooks, he said, standing up straight. I'll clean out my locker. I understand. Sit down, Carlos. Catherine interrupted. He sat on the piano bench looking confused. Catherine sat beside him. On a piano bench, in a dusty storage room, her $1,000 suit probably getting dirty. Carlos couldn't believe it. I'm not firing you, Catherine said. Carlos let out a breath he'd been holding. I'm offering you a different position. Music director. For a new program I'm creating. You'll teach piano to employees' children, including Lily. We'll discuss salary and benefits in my office tomorrow. And I'll sponsor visas for your family. Carlos stared at her. I don't understand why. Catherine looked at the piano, at the old sheet music, at the care Carlos had put into creating Braille notation for her daughter. Because you gave my daughter something I couldn't, Catherine said simply. You saw her, and she deserves to be seen. Carlos's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. Thank you so much. Catherine stood up. There's one more thing. I'd like to attend her lessons. Not to interfere. Just to watch. Is that acceptable? Carlos nodded. Of course. She's your daughter. Yes, Catherine said softly. She is, and it's time I started acting like her mother. As Catherine walked back to the elevator, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Maybe it wasn't too late. Maybe she could fix this. Not fix Lily, fix herself, fix what really needed fixing all along. The first lesson with Catherine present was awkward. She sat in a folding chair off to the side, watching as Carlos guided Lily through scales and arpeggios. Catherine didn't speak, didn't interrupt, just watched and listened. But her presence changed everything. Lily's fingers stumbled over notes she usually played perfectly. Carlos seemed nervous, his instructions more formal than usual. The easy warmth between them felt stiff and uncomfortable. After 20 minutes, Catherine stood up. I'm sorry. I'm making this worse, aren't I? Carlos and Lily exchanged glances. Neither wanted to say yes. It's okay, Mom, Lily said quietly. It's just different. Catherine nodded. I understand. I'll try again tomorrow. Maybe I need to learn how to just be present without controlling things. She left and the basement felt like it could breathe again. But something had shifted. Catherine was trying. That alone meant something. The next evening, Catherine came back. This time she brought a notebook. "I'm going to take notes," she explained. "Not about what you're doing wrong, just about the music. I want to understand what you're learning." It was still awkward, but less so. Catherine stayed quiet, scribbling in her notebook. When Lily played a difficult passage perfectly, Catherine's pen paused. She looked up, really looked at her daughter, and saw the concentration on Lily's face. The determination. The joy. Week by week it got easier. Catherine learned to blend into the background. She started asking questions after the lessons, genuine questions about music theory and technique. Carlos patiently explained, treating her like any other student. One evening, Carlos made a suggestion. "Mrs. Brooks, maybe you should learn too. Sit at the piano with Lily, learn together." Catherine looked startled. "I don't have any musical talent." "Neither did I when I started," Carlos said with a smile. "Music isn't about talent. It's about dedication. And you're already showing dedication by being here." So Catherine tried. She sat at the piano, her fingers feeling clumsy and too large on the keys. Lily giggled when her mother hit the wrong notes. Catherine started to feel defensive, then stopped herself. This was what normal mothers and daughters did. They laughed together. "You're better than me already," Catherine admitted after several failed attempts at a simple scale. "Keep practicing," Lily said, echoing words Carlos had told her 100 times. "You'll get it." Slowly, the ice between them began to thaw. Catherine started leaving work earlier. She'd take Lily out for dinner before lessons. They'd talk about school, about music, about nothing important and everything important at the same time. Catherine learned that Lily loved mystery audiobooks, that she wanted to visit the ocean someday to hear the waves, that she dreamed of playing piano in front of people, even though it scared her. All these things Catherine had never known because she'd never asked. Meanwhile, Carlos's life was transforming too. The music education program launched. Catherine had a proper studio built on the 3rd floor, with acoustic panels and 2 beautiful grand pianos. Carlos moved his family to the United States. His daughters enrolled in school. His wife found work as a nurse. The first time Lily met Carlos's daughters, Rosa and Isabel, they bonded instantly over music. Rosa played guitar. Isabel sang. Together with Lily on piano, they made something beautiful. 6 months after that night in the basement, Catherine made an announcement. Brooks Tech Industries was hosting a charity fundraiser, and there would be live music performed by students from the new music program. "I want you to perform," Catherine told Lily one evening. Lily's hands froze on the piano keys. "In front of people? I can't." "You can," Catherine said firmly. "I've heard you play. You're incredible. What if I mess up? What if people laugh?" Catherine knelt down beside the piano bench, something she'd never done before. "Lily, I've made a lot of mistakes as your mother. But the biggest mistake was teaching you to be afraid of failing. I was so scared of you getting hurt that I kept you from trying anything. But that's not living. That's just existing." Lily was quiet for a long moment. Then she asked, "Will you be there?" "I'll be in the front row," Catherine promised. The night of the fundraiser arrived. The company's main hall was filled with employees, clients, and donors. A stage had been set up with professional lighting. Lily stood backstage, her hands shaking. Carlos stood beside her. "Remember what I told you. Music isn't about perfection. It's about feeling. You just go out there and feel. What if I forget the notes? Your fingers know the way. Trust them. Trust yourself." Rosa and Isabel hugged her. "You've got this," they whispered. Catherine found Lily backstage. She took her daughter's hands. "I'm so proud of you. Not because you're performing. Because you're brave enough to try. Win or lose, succeed or fail, I'm proud." Lily felt tears prick her eyes. "Thanks, Mom. Now go out there and show them what my daughter can do." Lily walked onto the stage, guided by Carlos. The audience went quiet. She heard hundreds of people breathing, waiting. She found her way to the piano bench and sat down. Her hands touched the keys. For a moment, panic seized her. Then she thought about Carlos's basement studio, about those first simple notes, about her mother sitting in a folding chair, trying to understand, about music being about feeling, not perfection. Lily began to play. The piece was Distant Stars, the song Carlos had written years ago. Lily had practiced it hundreds of times, but tonight she played it differently. She poured everything into it. the loneliness she'd felt, the joy of discovery, the fear of losing it, the hope of new beginnings. The audience disappeared. There was only the music and the emotion flowing through her fingers. When she finished, silence filled the hall. Lily's heart sank. She'd messed up. People hated it. Then the applause started. It was thunderous. People were standing, cheering. Lily heard her mother's voice above all others, shouting with pride. Catherine rushed onto the stage, tears streaming down her face. She didn't care that hundreds of people were watching. She didn't care about looking professional or controlled. She wrapped her arms around her daughter and held her tight. "You were magnificent," Catherine whispered. "Absolutely magnificent." Lily hugged her back, crying and laughing at the same time. Carlos joined them on stage, his own eyes wet. "I told you, you have a gift." Later that night, after the event ended, the three of them sat in the new music studio. Rosa and Isabel had joined them too, along with Carlos's wife. "You know what the best part of tonight was?" Lily said. "What?" Catherine asked. "Having my family there to see it. All of my family." She reached out one hand to her mother, the other to Carlos. Both of them took her hands and held on. Catherine looked around at this unlikely group. A janitor who became a teacher, his family who'd traveled across the world, her daughter who'd found her voice. All of them brought together by music and kindness. She thought about the woman she used to be, cold, distant, so focused on success that she'd forgotten what success really meant. Real success wasn't quarterly profits or board meetings. It was this moment. Her daughter smiling. A family reunited. A relationship rebuilt from broken pieces. "Thank you," Catherine said to Carlos. "For teaching her. For teaching me." Carlos smiled. "Thank you for letting me, and for giving my family a chance at a new life." "We gave each other something," Catherine said. "That's what family does." Lily squeezed both their hands. Her mother on one side, her Tito Carlos on the other. Both of them had taught her in different ways. Both of them had shown her what love looked like. She was blind, yes, but she'd never seen more clearly than she did right now. Outside the window, the city lights glowed. Inside the studio, a family celebrated. Not a traditional family, maybe, but a real one, built on kindness, music, and second chances. And in that moment, everything felt exactly as it should be.